What's up, y'all? It's 10 at 3 time in Tennessee. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope everything in your life is going well today. If you're a Tennessee basketball fan, it's probably not been the best morning. If you're a Tennessee football fan, hey, after a couple of rough days, this has been a pretty good one. It's been a pretty good one for Tennessee with the National Signing Day. We call it National Signing Day. It's really the start to the national or the early signing period, but we just kind of call it National Signing Day now. It is what it is. But here
it's a celebration.
Yeah, there you go. Here on this National Signing Day, we got Lord of the Streams, Tom Barclay with us. Tom, how are you doing today, man?
Well, if I could turn my mic on, I'm doing great.
Doing pretty well over here, too. It was, if you missed it, or just about an hour ago or so, I guess, hour and a half ago, we started on air going into that Josh Heupel presser for early signing period. We're going to get all that stuff to you later on the podcast feeds and all that good stuff, hopefully. But we did all that, and then that left like a 30, 45-minute window to get some stuff done before going live here. And, Tom, I had anticipated using that time to go more into the notes for the show today, but then there was something else, the digital signing day stuff that had to be done, and I went, got to do that.
Got to let people know what's going on.
Got to do that. So right now, this is straight off the top, just straight down the middle. This mentions the notes for today. Syracuse first, real quick, is one note. Number two is then NSD, National Signing Day. So that's the outline. That's the outline we're going with. This is like that. You talk about like, hey, the radar's gone. We're flying blind here. We're just blindly we're guessing on these bombs here. We're just hopefully they're dumb bombs. Hopefully they get where they're going, because that's what we've got here right now in front of us.
Sure,
is this right here
the agenda?
No question about it. But I know you want to talk a lot of football today, and we're going to spend probably more time talking that than basketball. We'll have some other time later in the week to get some more of the basketball stuff. The Cliff Notes are, again, my hilarious streak continues of picking games. I think that's like five on the trot now that have gone the wrong way.
You're on a series cold streak.
This is one of the coldest streaks of my career. And I said, and comically, although I did say on the front, I said, listen, I think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing that Tennessee fouls so much, but it's a good thing that Syracuse normally shoots so terribly from the free throw line. But the bad part about that is sometimes those free throws just start going in. And last night it was actually Tennessee that could not make a free throw. Tennessee finished about 57% from the line, which is about what Syracuse is for the season, which was worst in the country. And then Tennessee also played with that J.P. Estrella, who is still dealing with that ankle this time of year. Discretion should be the better part of valor. With some of those injury situations, you got a long season ahead of you. He's a really important part of the situation. And with no disrespect toward him, he's been hurt quite a bit in the past year. So make sure to get him healthy as you can. Move on, understand that. But he wasn't out there, not making a lot of shots, making some shots, but not quite enough, but not just woeful shooting the basketball. But those turnovers, when you shoot that badly from the free throw line and you turn it over, I believe, 18 times, you're going to lose on the road more often than not. And Syracuse it's a bit misleading because Syracuse is a great brand name, one of the best brand names in college basketball. Hadn't been very good for a few years now. But that Syracuse team did very nearly beat Houston and Kansas last week, even without Donnie Freeman, its best player, playing. So last night was not a freak-out moment for Tennessee basketball. It was not a where's this thing going game. It was not a oh no, this team isn't very good. I said this was a top 10 basketball team. I still believe it very much can be a top 10 basketball team. And got a couple opportunities coming up. Illinois in Nashville on Saturday. That's a 13 versus 14 matchup there. So you go win that game. Hey, it's not such a bad week after all. Then the guys shut it down for a few days, do their fall semester final exams, make sure they're champions in the classroom, and then get prepared for, I think, 6th ranked or 7th ranked Louisville in Food City Center 10 days after that on the 16th. So don't freak out. Estrella will be back soon. It's not a long-term deal. And I think the good news, if there is good news to be had from what's going on right now for Tennessee, Tennessee beat Houston when it didn't shoot the ball well at all, really, and beat one of the better teams in college basketball with 2 lottery picks and one of the best coaches in the sport, yada, yada, yada. A bunch of returning players who were big parts of that team that almost won the Natty last season. Really good team. Tennessee is doing things right now that I think are easier to correct, you would think, than being a bad shooting team. If you're a bad shooting team, you're just a bad shooting team, and there's not really a lot you can do to become a better shooting team other than get as close as you can to the bucket, right? Like if you're the gang that can't shoot straight, if you're a gang that can't shoot straight, you can't shoot straight. I don't think this is going to be a great shooting team, but I think it's okay. It's fine. I'm not super concerned about that. It'll be okay. We've seen Tennessee teams with worse shooters than this Tennessee team be pretty good, so I'm not alarmed about that. The alarming thing right now, more than anything else, is those turnovers. And that is frustrating because you would think, and again, there are a lot of things that offer you perspective sitting on the floor versus sitting up higher in the court, in the arena, versus watching it from home. And one of those things that, you know, you get a really good appreciation for when you're on the court, when you're on floor level, basically, is just how complex very simple things are. Like you would think throwing the ball accurately, catching it, making sure your feet are in bounds, you would imagine those are not complex things. You would imagine that making a layup or making a ball, you're in the paint, putting up a shot, it goes in. You would think these are simple things for a Division I basketball player. Sometimes they are. When you sit on the floor, which we used to do for media, now we're usually a little bit higher, which again is fine. All I need, I've always said this, the better seats you give us, fine, I love that. But I'm not complaining. People pay a lot of money to be in there. If all I need is a view of the court or the floor or the yard and caffeine and a place to plug in the laptop and either Wi-Fi or Ethernet that works. That's all I need. I need to view the floor. I need to be able to see the court. I need access to the internet. And I need caffeine. Those are the only things I really need. Now, it's funny because you go to BYU and you're not getting one of those things. But I'll just sneak in my own. But those are all I need. I love the few places that still give us really good seats, but I'm not going to complain about it because that's not, hey man, do you know how much everybody these days is pressed for money, even the athletic departments themselves? And if somebody's going to offer them millions of dollars for that seat and they push us up a couple rows, I ain't complaining. Hey, it is what it is. There's worse things. There's very few things that people hate, I think, more than like media who complain about either media food or media seats. It just doesn't compute with people. People don't care, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't care in your position, so I don't talk about those things, and I don't complain about who serves good food and who doesn't. I just try to eat dinner or breakfast before I go, because honestly, I don't love taking their free food because I don't want to be beholden to anybody. Now, caffeine's different. I need the caffeine, and plus I know they pay about a nickel or dime a piece for those bottles of soda or coffee. So I'm not, you know, I say I'm indebted to no one, but really a nickel or dime here for a can of soda, I'm not gonna, or a coffee, I'm not gonna, whatever. I try not to eat the food unless I just have to, but that's just, people don't like to hear that stuff and complaining about it. So I'm not complaining about it. What I am saying is that we spent enough years close enough to the floor that you get a really good appreciation down there for how condensed the space is and how fast things are moving. So what seems like a really simple pass sometimes isn't. What seems like a simple catch sometimes isn't. What seems like, and I've said this before, someone like Nate Ament, he has a hard time keeping those feet in bounds in the corner. It's frustrating as can be. He's got to stop doing that. You got to be able to play without looking down to see where your feet are. It's easier. I'm 6'1", size 11, 10 and a half feet. These guys are 7 feet tall with size dinosaur feet. So those feet are enormous. And so sometimes they get a little closer to that baseline than ours would, or that end line than ours would, right? And they practice every day, so you think you could overcome that. And there are things much more difficult to do in the sport than that, but those things aren't as simple as they look, because you say, well, you're 6'10", why can't you just put the ball in the bucket right there? Well, because a lot of times at least one, if not two guys who are also 6'9", 6'10", are there pushing and bumping you. It's a little different. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's just simple. It's also not very complex. And that's frustrating now, but I think that's something easier to fix. The simpler the issue, the simpler the fix, usually. And so if Tennessee just absolutely could not make a shot ever for any reason, that would be a bigger problem. If Tennessee didn't have, when Estrela's healthy, 5 guys like 6'9", 6'10", or taller, who are big guys who can score on the bucket and get rebounds when you're struggling to shoot the ball, if they didn't have that, I'd be a little more concerned. Last night would have been a very simple game for Estrella to just take the ball down in the bucket, turn around, put it in the bucket. Look what Jalen Carey did, 20 points, career high. Look at what Estrella could have done. You know, that's not, hey, he wasn't there and you got to win anyway. The game's the game. But my point is, it's okay to be frustrated, and I think it is. It's feel however you want to feel, man. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I don't believe in that. I'll tell you what I think, though, and I think the people freaking out right now could cool the heels a bit. This is a 7-2 basketball team. It's already got a really good win. It would be a 3, maybe 4 seed in the NCAA tournament if it started today. Still got 2 really big non-conference games and then a whole bunch of good SEC games. That win over Houston means more than that loss at Syracuse will mean when it comes to seeding and things like that in the postseason. I'm not there yet. I have no problem telling you when I think you should be alarmed. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to tell you how to feel. I have no problem telling you if I feel like something is alarming, because I've seen bad. Like the past 5 or 6 days for Tennessee, right? Tennessee's been winning so much in so many sports lately. In the past week, you've got Vanderbilt coming to the house of Tennessee football, the house General Neyland built, basically, at least in its modern form, and whoop Tennessee in the fourth quarter. Then the Lady Vols go to third-ranked UCLA in basketball on Sunday, have a really bad third quarter, take an L against a really good team. Then the Tennessee basketball team goes to Syracuse, a game it should win, and it turns the ball over 18 times or whatever it was and loses. I get it. But don't make me be the rational one here, y'all. Don't make me do it. Don't make me have to sit here and say, hey, we know what bad is. When I say we, I mean everyone who's in or around the Tennessee Athletic Department. We saw a decade of a clown show. And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I say that because that's what the results said it was. That's what the antics said it was. That's what the comically low amount of money in the reserve fund said it was. I've seen bad. And you've seen bad too. Now, it hadn't been a good week. No doubt about that. Has not been a good week. But if you don't remember what bad was, you got a pretty short memory. They're okay. Tennessee, I think for the past 3 years, has won basically the SEC All-Sports Trophy for an athletic department. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of season left. And sure, you could sit there and say football took a step back this season. Men's basketball has been to two Elite Eights. If this team doesn't reach the heights that I think it could, will people say that's a step back? Lady Vols, that exciting brand of basketball, all those signees, maybe not quite ready yet. Could be by the end of the year, because Caldwell said she wanted to schedule harder this year because last season she felt the problem was they didn't play anybody really in non-conference that got them ready for the SEC, so they wanted to test themselves earlier and get ready. You do that, you're going to take a couple L's. Just like the way Rick Barnes schedules, you're going to take a couple L's. That's okay, and that's fine. It's basketball. And then, Tony Vitello's leaving and yada, yada. But, again, Tennessee basketball continues to recruit at the highest level it's done really in my lifetime, consistently, I would say. Tennessee football, which we're about to talk about, has a top 10, top 5 signing class coming in. Tennessee baseball just signed one of the best classes in the country. Right now it's got another one of the best, one of the better ones we've ever seen in terms of recruiting hauls. Now you got to see who goes to the draft and doesn't, yada, yada. But, tap the brakes a little bit. It's great to have standards, and you got to have standards. The standard is the standard, and if you don't meet it, you should be uncomfortable. But I think a stiffer upper lip wouldn't be such a bad thing right now, because I don't think what I'm seeing, not exclusively, but mostly, are things I think you can fix, both with this basketball team and really with the athletic department. Now, you can go back to Monday's episode, and we talked about this. With football, there's some, I don't want to say the old Robert Johnson crossroads moment here, but it's, we talked about it Monday. There's some hard choices they're going to have to make if they want to get where they want to get and where their fans want them to get and where I've covered them when they were at before. The standard is the standard. You've brought the standards back, which is great, but now you got to meet them. And what happens is, this is what happens in the hype machine era, right? It's a beast. And when you build a beast, it has to be fed. And if you don't feed that beast yourself, if you don't give that beast food, it's going to eat you. Because once you build a beast, you can't tame it. There is no taming a beast. You can't do it. Can't do it. Give it all the Prozac and sedatives you want. You're not taming it. You got to feed it so it can eat and be happy enough to sleep. Full enough to sleep. If it's hungry, it's ravenous, it's going to rip your face off, dude. It's going to rip your face off. And so this is where things are. There's Elijah Nixon coming in. And that's where things are. So right now, I think you have to understand that when you call yourself an everything school and people are used to winning, maybe not except for in baseball, winning a natty recently, but still getting to the doorstep, they want to eat. They're ready to eat. They're ready for the next step. And if in that moment you tell them, oh, actually, wait, we might take a slight step back here, but then we're going to get where we want to go, I can tell you how that's going to go down. Not going to be good. Not going to be good. But I would not freak out right now. I've seen bad, and it's not bad. I'm definitely not looking at bad now that Elijah's in here. Elijah, bud, how are you?
I am feeling 10 times better than over the weekend.
You've been a little under the weather.
Yeah.
You were playing hurt.
I was
You were
really
playing
hurt.
hurt.
I was really hurt.
You didn't have quite the same energy level Saturday night that you normally do. Like you were still good vibes only because you only live on good vibes. But maybe a little tired. I thought at the time it's been a long season. I thought maybe Elijah's a little tired. Wakes up the next morning. Oh no.
Over.
Oh no, not tired, but it's.
It was my nephew. My nephew was walking around sick for Thanksgiving, and yeah, he was just coughing everywhere. But that's still my guy. I'm gonna love on him and stuff. But he wasn't feeling too well, and then it probably got to me Saturday morning. But I was trying my best to ignore it, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go throughout the day.
I just thought you were tired.
Sunday came, I was like, I'm gonna keep going through it, but I was like, no, I don't know if I could fight through this one. And Monday, I was like, I don't know if I fight it, but. Yesterday came around, I felt way better than today. It was just like, all right, I'm 10 times better. Still got a little cough, but I'm okay though.
Because the reason I was worried was because I saw what the Tennessee football team did to your health. And then I was like, okay, I think Elijah's coming back tomorrow. And then that Syracuse basketball game happened, and I thought, oh no, is this going to take a step back? Is he going to get sick again? But no, fights through it. Here he is with that lovely smile on his face.
Speaking of, I don't know if you already mentioned it, but Legend Bay.
Yes, that's what we were doing. We did the whole, hey, that basketball game happened and it sucked. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it did kind of suck. We talked about that, and then we're flipping over to football for the rest of this episode because Tennessee has had itself a day.
Yes, they did. And getting Legend Bay back from Ohio State, I thought that was a big win. I mean, we knew Faison was coming. We knew TK was coming. Tristan Keys was coming. We knew, Tyreek King. Those guys were solidified. They weren't moving. But
they weren't going nowhere.
Legend Bay going back and forth, whether if it's Ohio State or coming back here or coming back to Tennessee because he was originally committed to the Vols and then said, I'm going to go to Ohio State. Today makes up his mind and said he's coming back to Tennessee. And I think that is huge for the Vols.
Yes.
I think
such an exciting player.
With Josh Heupel, with the news around him possibly being a candidate for the Penn State job, and then he comes out and say he wants to win here, that's major. But then saying that getting these guys to fully commit, I think that Tennessee's brewing something special, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and then, that was the first big boom of the day. The second one was getting Carter Gooden back or getting him in the fold. This is a big-time defensive lineman who has been committed to UCLA since July, which is interesting for someone from Massachusetts. I don't know if you see a lot of and again, UCLA is a big brand, and people just, I've said it before, maybe the best uniforms, them and Pitt, I think in sports, in college sports. And I know you disagree on that, but that's okay. And you're in LA, you're in Pasadena, things have been tough for UCLA, but I get the appeal. So I'm not ever going to be like, oh, why the heck is this kid going to UCLA? I get it. You've been there. You walked around. Many different forms of nice scenery out there, if you know what I mean. I understand it. The weather, you're good. I get it. You don't want to catch on fire, but other than that, or get an earthquake, but other than that, you're not going to be sweaty too much because there ain't a lot of humidity. That nice Pacific breeze, good climate. I get it. But that was an interesting one. And then he visits Tennessee late in the process, and you're like, oh, I bet Tennessee can flip this kid.
Yeah.
I bet Tennessee can flip this one. And they did. And he's a top 150 overall player. So we'll see where things get with Salisi Moa. He is not signed yet, the big receiver out of Utah who surprised a lot of people when he picked Tennessee originally over Utah. But now he's not signing today, or at least he hasn't as the time we hit record. And the thinking is now he'll probably sign Thursday or Friday. Utah sneaking its way back into the picture. Michigan getting its way into that fight. So Tennessee's going to have to hold on to that one. However, if you had come to Josh Heupel when he went to bed Tuesday night and said, you'll get Legend Bay and Carter Gooden and you'll lose Salisi Moa, he'd probably take that deal because the other wide receivers he's got in this class, getting a good defensive line prospect, I think Moa's fantastic. If Tennessee gets him, that kid's electric. He is electric. And if he goes to wherever he goes, I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
So you're not excited if you don't finish the deal there. But that 2-for-1 trade, two big-time prospects losing one, and one of them possibly plays the position that the guy that you lost plays, I think you probably take that deal.
And another thing, outside of that, I think they're not done yet. I am really interested to see how they attack the transfer portal when it opens, because I think Tennessee is going to attack very hard. Like that quote sits with me so well with Josh Heupel when he was like, "I want to win here." That quote sits with me right there because he could easily run. Because honestly, we all know if he doesn't have a successful season next year, he's going to be on the hot seat. And the schedule that they play next year is brutal.
It's
bad. Brutal.
It's bad, man. It's bad.
There's no New Mexico States. There's no ETSUs. There's none of those games where you just look at like, okay, that's a clear-cut victory on that schedule next year. So for him to say that he wants to win here and he's going to try to bring in big talent, I think that, when that portal opens up, I want to see how he attacks that, because I'm going to tell you right now, I think Tennessee is going to be a force to work with next year, 2026.
Hey, I'll take all the optimism that you got. I think Tennessee people will take all the optimism that you got right now. I always go into the portal period with very, not bad expectations, just neutral expectations, because it is a madhouse. And every team, everywhere, down from number 1 Ohio State to the worst teams in FBS, every team is going to lose at least a couple players it doesn't want to lose, because they're going to mean more financially to somebody else than they are to you. Or they want to go home, or they're like, hey, I'm farther away from my girlfriend than I wanted to be. I want to go back. You know what I mean? Like, my mom's sick or dad's sick. I want to go back. My grandma's sick. My uncle's sick. Like, it could be anything. And so you're always going to lose guys, because there are guys who you would love to keep to pay at a high level, but because of what you've already got at that position, you can't offer them what somebody else can. And if it's just a money issue, then sometimes that's the decision that's going to be made. And I'm not going to hate on anybody for that, because, hey, that's their life and that's what they want to do. I'm not here to say it's right or wrong. It's what they want to do with their life and their future. And sometimes with the money that's available out there, I get it. Even if you're taking a risk for the long term, short-term cash is a really good thing in some situations. So I'm not gonna blast anybody for doing that. But it's going to be interesting, because another phrase that Heupel mentioned in his pressers today, which again, hopefully I'll have it run out there on the feed for you later today, if you weren't catching it live, was exit interviews. And you have to do those, right? I guess somewhere in the armed forces they call them after action reports or whatever, like dissections at times. Like, when a season ends, you sit down as much as you can one-on-one with every single person in your program. And that's a lot. It's a lot of time. But the players and coaches, everybody who went through that season, let's sit down and talk about where you are, where we are with you, where we see your future going from here, where we hope your future goes, whether that's, hey, we think the sky's the limit for you and we're really happy with this season, and if you keep going with just a couple tweaks, you're getting ready to pop. Or it could be, hey, it just wasn't what any of us wanted this season, so where are you at mentally? Do you think you can do more? Because we need you to do more or we're going to have a problem. Or it could be, you were very much a problem for me all year long. I needed to keep you with me because we needed the body, and we were hoping it would get turned around. It didn't. I'll give you a good reference, but we're done. Like, it could run a full gamut of just everything. And that's just from Tennessee's side to the coaches and players. Those coaches and players might have a different message for Heupel. Right. It might be, hey, man, I don't like the way you're coaching me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say anything during the season because I just want to win, and I'm in here with the bunker with you. But we have the ability to go places now, and I got to know, can you coach me differently? Because if you can't, we're going to have a problem. Like, it's just not working for me.
Right.
Or, hey, I like this, I don't like that. Or, hey, man, like, you got to tighten up some of this stuff with other dudes in this program. Or I don't, you got some stuff going on in this locker room that if you can't promise me you can clean this up, I don't want to be here. It could be anything. And I'm not saying what it will be. I'm just saying this is the full spectrum of conversations that can happen. And when that happens, and it can also be, by the way, my agent's already told me that I've got an offer for 3 times from Auburn for 3 times what you were paying me this year. Just throwing that out there. Coach, it's 3 times the money. I got to help my family. I can still develop at Auburn. Can you match this, or can you get close to this? It could be anything. So there will be players that you don't want to lose that you'll lose. And so it's hard for me to say, like, you go into the portal thinking you need certain things. But then when some people could leave, you're going to need something else.
Right.
So you have to be so flexible. You have to cast a wide net and keep your networks as up to date as possible, because you have to go react. Like, for instance, again, the quarterback that just came to Neyland Stadium and, put a belt to Tennessee's backside, he was in Vanderbilt's like second or third choice that year. Mm-hmm. They didn't get some of the quarterbacks they wanted more. High school kids, portal kids, and then they were like, all right, this kid from New Mexico State's got some moxie to him, and he's a little wild. There's some stuff with the family that's a little bit, I don't know if we can handle this, but like, hey, man, the dude is exciting. So they went and they took the plunge, and he ended up helping transform their program. So you got to have multiple options at every position that you can turn to, because it's wild like that.
Yeah, and I agree. Football, you have to be a lot of clear depth. And what we see with Tennessee later in the year, they got a lot of depth at linebacker. They have a lot of depth at linebacker, and they just brought in some more.
Because they got to get more athletic. There.
Exactly. Then you got some guys that's good in corners. You got to get back. You got a lot of things that you got to replace. But I think that's why they hit the portal so hard on some of these key positions. I think with some of the freshmen coming in, like, I like Faison, but I don't think he's your day one starter just yet. And I don't mean that with no disrespect.
And he would have to earn it.
He'll have to earn that thing really, really. But I don't see him winning it right now, only for the simple fact that he's just a freshman. I don't know how much they allow freshmen to really take command under center at the SEC level.
It's not been something that Heupel's done very often in his career. I don't think. It's usually been a redshirt guy or an older guy. I think I'd have to go back and look, but I think it's usually older transfers or guys who've been in the program.
So I think they go to the portal and get a quarterback. Now, I'm not saying Faison won't be a number one pick. I think Faison is phenomenal. But I think that with next year, with that brutal schedule, it's just that it's going to be tough for me to see him putting a freshman under center with LSU coming to town, with Texas coming to town, with you go on the road to go Texas A&M. You go on the road to South Carolina.
You get Bama coming.
You get Bama coming to town.
You're going to Athens. Oh no! Wait, you're not. No, Georgia. No, Georgia. No, Georgia. You're right, because I gotta remember with the schedule, because it changes now. You know?
And but you got to go to Georgia Tech.
Uh-huh.
You have to go to Georgia Tech. The game that we all think is winnable is Furman. So, and I hope he plays in that game, because we would like to see him.
Oh, I know somebody in that Furman staff, and he's gonna put you on that bulletin board, bro.
I hope so.
South Carolina. You went to school there.
But no, but that's the thing. I think they're gonna attack that portal in attempts of, because I don't think this team is just hungry for another winning season. I think they want to win it, make a deep run. And another thing that you were saying, when you got to look at these self-evaluation, these exit meetings, I know a lot of people are calling for Tim Bake's job defensively. And defensively, they didn't look good all year. And in the second half, they didn't look good at all.
The second half of Andy was just if you were watching, you were on your sick bed on Monday. We went in and we were like, hey, the second half of that defense against Vanderbilt, that changes the conversation for the entire season. I think that was bad to watch. Bad.
It outscored 24-3. But this is what I'm going to say about that. Look at the offense as well. Because the offense flashed, and then sometimes it wouldn't. Against Alabama, it did not look as good as it looked against Florida.
Forced some turnovers and didn't do much with it. That's right.
So it was like, and then Vanderbilt was the same way. The offense didn't look just as good. I mean, they don't play make it, take it in football, So they didn't score 24 unanswered points and then give the ball back to Tennessee. They scored 7, then gave the ball back to Tennessee. Tennessee didn't score. Scored 10, gave the ball back to Tennessee. Tennessee scored 3. They scored 17. Tennessee didn't score. They gave the ball back to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt scored 24. And that was pretty much it. So the offense wasn't as good as we usually see it. It popped sometimes, and then other times it didn't. So I'm not saying that, Tim Banks wasn't a problem. But I think that if you're going to evaluate, I think you should just look at everything as a whole. It's just that Tennessee never played complimentary football this season. That's the only thing that I want to say. When the defense had good days against Oklahoma, when they had great days, that was a good day against Oklahoma. The offense didn't show up. And then when the offense looked good against Georgia, the defense never showed up. So it's like they just never really had a complimentary football game.
Yeah,
except for Florida.
And I think what's interesting for me is that I think I look at it like I don't know if it's right or wrong, but offenses that know they have to score 45 to win, it changes things mentally. The pressure that you have to put 7 on the point.
It's true.
I just think the pressure, and I've seen this before, right? The pressure that's associated with, like even if you're an offense that scores 40 to 45 points a game, which Heupels normally do, when you know you have to do that to win against a good team, all of a sudden you see a couple more passes dropped. All of a sudden you see a couple throws that are tight. All of a sudden you see even more aggressive plays that are turnovers because, hey, normally you say, I'm going to throw this ball away here and we'll take the 3 points. You know that you have to get 7. So you're chucking that ball into coverage. And you don't have to tell Joey Aguilar twice to throw a ball into traffic, you know what I mean?
Not at all.
So like I get, for me, like I get all of it. I do think it is on both sides and it is a global thing. I just, for me, the concern with the defense is just at a pretty high level, not maybe alarming. I don't know if I don't like to use the word alarming, but it's, I understood everything with those injuries and everything else and losing your 2 stud corners and, Arian's playing on 1 foot for a few weeks and not back to his best the rest of the year because he is being a tough guy and trying to play through it before they finally said, no, dude, you're on 1 leg. You can't make plays right now. You have to sit down. And then without him out there, the dynamic playmaking ability at linebacker was not the same. It just wasn't. And you could tell it was not good. So the safeties were older, and I think Farouk is going to become a nice player. But you just there was a lack of explosive playmaking from those areas. And then sometimes, honestly, some bad discipline on top of that, which if you're not going to be the best athlete, you can't make mistakes, man. You got to know where you're going. You got to be where you're supposed to be on time because if it just turns into a foot race or a jumping competition, you're not winning it. So you better be where you're supposed to be. You better be in the right gap. You better have the angle. And for me, what makes this the portal season so interesting is that it just changes the way that you think about roster building. Because I'll just, for instance, just as a pure example, hypothetical, I'll throw out like a Braylon Staley, right? Somebody who, as a redshirt freshman, became one of the better receivers in the SEC, one of the best slots in the league, if not around college football. Mm-hmm. And that's a guy where historically you're like, oh, we're building this thing around him. We're building this offense around him. And I don't have any indication or any ideas that he plans to go anywhere. But if someone like that were to go into the portal market and let it go to the highest bidder, he's going to make a lot more money doing that, whether he stays or goes. And so guys that you think you might be building around, hypothetically, maybe you're not. Or like, in past years, you'd be thinking like someone like Brazel now. Like he goes through senior day, right? Even though he's a 4th-year junior. And the expectation is that he will go pro because he'll be a 1st or maybe 2nd-round draft pick. In the past, a guy like that, if he got a grade from the league saying 2nd, early 3rd-round pick, he might come back to school and try to raise that profile. And he wouldn't transfer because he feels good about the system he's in. Well, now what if there's a world where Chris Brazzell gets a grade from the NFL and it says second, mid-second to mid-third or something like that, and he goes, I'm better than that. I'll go next year, ball out, and you'll take me in the first round next year. Well, then what does that dude go for on the open market? And does he look at a situation where he goes, where's the best returning quarterback in America? I'm going to spend my final year. I want to become a first-round pick. I'm fine here. I'm happy. There's no problem. But I think the grass may be greener over there. What's going on at Ohio State? Do I think Arch is going to go boom next year? And I want to go down there because I'm a Texas kid. These are all hypotheticals, but I'm saying this is – you can't just – and nobody can do this anymore because we all want to do it because we're programmed and wired to do this. Mm-hmm. To think, oh, well, this is what I got coming back, so this is what I'm building around. You don't know. Like, there is no, like, sun sitting in the middle where everything can kind of rotate around it. That thing's moving. So you're constantly aiming at a moving target. And so that's why I say, hey, I think any situation, just about any situation, can be looked at positively if you want it to, right? Like any kind of a setback is sort of an opportunity in disguise, if you look at it that way. If you're a sunny side up guy, if you're someone who's optimistic, you can almost look at anything. Even that Vanderbilt game, you could take a step to the side and say, that team wasn't going to the playoff anyway. And if that loss sharpens everybody going into next season, good, take that L. Last night with Tennessee basketball, you're going to turn the ball over 18 times, you're going to go 8 for 15 at the free throw line. You might learn more by losing that game than winning it. You win that game, you're going to think you can get away with this. You lose it, now you know you can't, right? Like now you know you can't. And so with football, I think if anything with that Vanderbilt game is a good thing, it's a, hey, whether it's coaches, players, hey, if you were on the fence, that should have taken you off the fence. So now it's, where does this thing get better? And to your point, do you just sit there in the offseason and say, all right, Faison Brandon, all right, George McIntyre, 2 dogs, 1 bone. Go at it, kids. Who's going to get the job? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or do you try to throw a veteran in there? But I think if you do that, that's where it gets really tricky. Because on the one hand, this is a year-to-year game now.
It is.
And it is and I think that, as a side note, I think that means you should be spending most of your NIL money. I would rather spend more in the portal than I would for high school kids coming in.
That you don't know.
Because for high school kids, 1, you don't know, and 2, if it's going to take you a bidding war to get them there in the first place, guess what, bud? The next 3 or 4 years, you're doing a bidding war every year to keep them.
Exactly.
Because you have set the precedent, where Nico has a year, not bad, but and then his people start demanding more money. You get the Boo Carter situation where they're always demanding more money. And we'll see what happens with, for instance, David Sanders Jr. That thing got close down the stretch last year. That got close and uncomfortable, and a lot of people were throwing a lot of money at him. And Tennessee eventually was like, got to do it. Can't lose this one, whatever it takes. But like him and his people know that. And to Sanders' credit, he came and gave Tennessee a really good freshman season. He was hurt and he wanted to play, tried to play through it. They wouldn't let him. They made him get healthy. And he was a freshman, so he had some tough moments. But mostly it was a really good season for a freshman offensive tackle. That's a dude you build the thing around. All right, kid, get it left tackle next season and let's go. And you hope that's the case. But do he and his people now go, all right, well, what can I get this year? Yeah. Now that I got this freshman season film on tape in the SEC. So I think it's a really tough situation for Heupel. I mean, they're all tough situations, but I think probably you still have to find somebody if you want to add from the portal, which I think they'll probably lose Merklinger, I'm guessing. So he might stick around in the spring to see if he can surprise people and win the job, but that wouldn't be a weird thing. But I just have a feeling that by the summer he might not be there. So then you're basically, I think you have to go find somebody who's good enough to help you, but somebody who's not such a big name, like say a Carson Beck would have been last season, or somebody like Sellers goes out there this year. If it's somebody that big of a name, then you're going to lose one of those young kids. You just probably are. That's the way the world works now. It's weird, but that's how people, especially at quarterback's different from every other spot in the field, man. One guy. That's what you got. You got one guy. A guard can play center. A tackle can play guard. You can play multiple wide receivers, a couple safeties. If corner, you don't start at corner, you can maybe play nickel, linebacker, edge. They can get you on the field. Quarterbacks, a lot of dogs, one bone. And so they're just they think differently. And it's hard to keep multiple good quarterbacks on your roster. And then if one gets hurt, you're almost going to get torpedoed because
Exactly.
That's just what it is. So that's why. But in such a big year, do you risk that? The reason I say you don't go risk it by getting like the biggest name in the portal is because you spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of NIL resources to get McIntyre to Tennessee and then to get Brandon to Tennessee. And I think you have to do what you can to at least have both of them duke it out in the spring and see where things are, because I don't think you want to be known as the place that doesn't give five-star quarterbacks a legit chance to win the starting job. I don't think that's something that looks good. That's something that other people are going to use against you. It's just how coaches work, and that argument can work. So that's why it's interesting to me. Because, and again, we're assuming Aguilar's not back next season. We don't know that. We just don't. There's a court case. He's even saying we'll see. Who knows? Technically, Pavia at 44 years old, if they win that case, could come back and play for Vanderbilt next season again. He technically could if they win that case. Right. He would have one more year. So, and Aguilar would have one more year.
Yeah, Aguilar be back too.
So, but then at that point, does Tennessee say, thank you for your service, we got to have these freshmen play? Or you can compete with them, but you're not guaranteed the job. Or do they say, you know what, this is a big year. You know the system. We can harness you in. We know you'll make plays. Let's get better here and here. There are so many possibilities out there, and it is wild out there, Elijah. How do you even – I can't imagine. Like, I see why programs have general managers, even though you don't really have to have a general manager. You have to have someone who does general manager jobs. You don't have to call it that. It could be called whatever you want. But I see why these people exist now. I see why a lot of programs are going this way, because how do you manage this thing? I mean, imagine, put yourself in the mindset of Josh Heupel right now and all the decisions that are coming across the desk. And you're trying to figure out what your roster is going to be, what your staff's going to be, when all of that is a door that's open for a while. You see why they get gray hair fast, I guess.
Yeah, they look stressed out throughout the year. They definitely look stressed out throughout the year. But, again, this is why it's their decisions, and we just talk about whatever decisions they make. If we agree with them or we don't agree with them.
Hey, we're just sitting here sipping our bourbon. I mean tea.
We have the
in our cup.
we have the easy part.
I just got a coffee over here. I ain't that fancy.
I mean, we're just we're just some guys sitting here sipping beverages, talking ball. It's pretty easy from this standpoint. But
I do have one name. I'm not going to say today.
Wait. Did you just say I have one name? I'm not going to name the name.
I'm not going to say it today. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. That I think they could get at quarterback. We talked about this before. I'm not going to say it today because his name's not in the transfer portal yet. But I'm going to say this. I feel like Tennessee is going to go try to grab that guy. His name's not in the portal, so I don't want to be like, we'll see.
If it's a name like that and that caliber, you're immediately having to go to Brandon and McIntyre and be like, you're going to get a chance too, and they might not believe you. So, but I mean it's decisions that you got to make, right? I mean, it's it's a big year. And see, I still think if I'm them, I go linebacker and safety and D-line, and I go to that portal, and I go to the bottom of that palm tree, and I start shaking it, waiting for those coconuts to come down. I'm going to shake that thing till some coconuts fall out of it. You know what I mean? I'll run a car into it if I have to. I'll knock down the tree with a car, and I'm a tree hugger. I'll go knock down the tree with my car to get that stuff off the top. I don't care. Like, you have got to be better on defense next season. You have got to be either more disciplined or more athletic. Ideally, both. But if you're neither of those things, you're cooked. You know, with that schedule and maybe breaking in a new quarterback, that if you're not significantly better on defense,
there you go.
You are going to be lucky to have the record you had this year, if that's the kind of defense you're going to play again. You're not. This year was the schedule where you could maybe get away with it, and they darn near did. They darn near did. Make a field goal against Georgia. Don't let an Oklahoma defensive lineman pick up a ball and go 80 yards through your entire offense, carrying your tight end for 30 yards along the way to get a touchdown where he was hurting his leg in the process. Don't let that – if those just a couple of – and it gets Oklahoma make a kick. Like, again – and then they're going into that Vandy game as a winner gets to the CFP kind of game, because that's what it would be billed as. Would have helped Vandy, too, to be honest. Sure. It really would have helped Vandy. And then maybe that game with the stakes becomes a different kind of animal in there. And this was the year to get away with that. And they didn't. Next year, you're not getting that. I can see that schedule. Now, you can't assume anything, but when you see the names on that schedule and you see the rosters that they could be bringing back, not to mention what they add from the portal, I mean, it's a significantly tougher schedule. It looks like one anyway.
That's a schedule. And that's why I'm trying to – I will talk to my guys, how many guys I can retain, and I'm going to ask them straight up, like, look, if you really want to help me turn around this Tennessee program, next year is the year. Because, a lot of people didn't respect the schedule that Tennessee wasn't playing. They'll tell them, you only play a couple teams a year, Next year, you have a team after team. You have a fight after fight after fight. Yeah. And then on top of that, since you got all those home games with those guys coming into your home, you're going to have so many recruits in there coming. And then, like you said, if they win those games, the recruits are going to be like, if they could beat Texas at home, why I need to go to Texas? I could come here. If they could beat Alabama here, I could go here.
But a good recruiter could say if they lose those games, hey, man, look how much we need you.
Exactly. That too.
So it's a win-win, kind of.
It is.
That's why it's such a big season. And I think everybody from Heupel to Danny White to Heupel's assistants to Tennessee's biggest donors in that NIL fund, all those people need to get together as much as they can on the same page, have a clear understanding of what's at stake this next season, because it is a lot. Now, of course, you could say, and they might say fairly, dude, don't scare me. That's what every season in Tennessee is like. We know this. You're not going to scare me. Listen, man, I'm always one bad year away from being everything in my house on fire. Like, I get it. But even more than usual, it feels big. But before we get out of here in our final minute, good day for Tennessee football. There haven't been a lot of good days for Tennessee football recently, not been a lot of great days. This is a good day. This is a good day for Tennessee, a day they needed. You could tell. Heupel even shaved for the occasion today. Did you see him out there looking all dapper today? No, got that nice shiny face today?
I didn't even look.
Yeah, he had it. We don't, though. We got beards in here. That's how we roll. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with a lot more to discuss there. We will obviously get more into the basketball the next couple of days as well. We'll have some updates on the football recruiting day or signing day stuff. But we'll also talk a lot about basketball because there's a big game coming up Saturday night in Nashville as well. Big week. No days off here. No days off. And we'll be back in about 23 hours on another not day off. Talk more Vols with you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in 23 hours.